Welcome to the weekend edition of the Nightly Nuge. And I know, Ted, you've got a story you want to tell about me coming up. But first of all, happy weekend.
Well, happy weekend, everybody. Finally, it's Friday. I'm out of my cage. 2 days of freedom are good for a rage. What a weekend warrior we can be.
Before we get to your story, and it may just only be a story, we'll let the viewers listen to that. But, Ted, earlier in the week, we promised our listeners that we would come up with a list of our favorite podcasts. And so I'll just read them off. And if I forgot one that you listed, let me know. But A Bone to Pick, which is Michael Waddell's podcast.
Right. Good stuff.
The Foul Life, Chad Belding's podcast.
Yep.
Maybe my favorite, A Fistful of Dirt, Cuz Strickland and Mossy Oak. The Off Grid podcast with Ralph and Vicki Cianciarulo, Working Class Bow Hunter, which I believe is an ensemble type of podcast, On the Line with Levi Morgan, 100% Wild Drury Outdoors, and of course, my very favorite, Spirit Campfire with none other than Ted Nugent. And of course, I'm kind of partial to my Right on the Mark. But I want to take one out of the box that you and I both love, not hunting related, but we've got to figure out how to get Jason Whitlock on a special edition of the Nightly Nuge, because his Fearless podcast, I mean, that speaks to me, and I'm sure you and most other Americans, if they would just tune in.
Well, again, truth, logic, and common sense will set you free. Knowledge is power. And critical thinking in this day and age of runaway propaganda by almost all of the media, our own government, just to become treasonous monsters. Academia is brainwashing children across the planet. Certainly Hollywood has always been a source of nothing but nasty lies and anti-American nonsense. But on my Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire now for over a year, we're about to expand it, and I'll give you the gory details coming up soon. It really is about truth, logic, and common sense. And like you do on Right on the Mark and our friends at Mossy Oak with A Fistful of Dirt, boy, there's nothing more important than a fistful of dirt. That's the ultimate compliment you can give someone, is that they're down to earth, they're grounded. So all these podcasts that you just mentioned, I know all those guys and gals. They live truth, logic, and common sense. They live positive energy, positive attitude, positive spirit. And they seek information and opinions, but we celebrate information that is documented, that we have evidence to support. And everything on all those podcasts you just mentioned, what we do on the Nightly Nuge every day, is celebrating the evidence that supports the foundational values of the United States of America, that in those countries and those tyrannical emperors and kings and despots and horrible, horrible communists around the world, truth, logic, and common sense is against the law. So if you go to my website, let's make sure we put all those good podcasts that we support and believe in that do such a great job. Let's make sure that's available at hunternation.org. Make sure it's available on mytednugent.com, on my Facebook, and you get with Toby and Rocco, and make sure we wallpaper and carpet bomb it everywhere, because all those hosts are truth, logic, and common sense, we the people, God, family, country, freedom, law, and order celebrants. And that's what America is hungry for, because you're not going to get it at ABC or CBS or NBC. They're all freaks. So good American families will celebrate the content of those wonderful podcasts, and we should celebrate that everywhere we can.
All week, we've been talking about the media. And so this story you're about to tell may very well be fake news. It may, I'm not saying one way or the other, but I think it fits perfectly in our theme this week of the media may embellish a bit.
So I'd like to share, because I live to hunt. I really like to hunt. So I pursue a lot of venison because I insist on fueling my sacred temple with God's best protein and nutrition. So in the pursuit thereof, I often surround myself with good friends, great fellow conservationists that celebrate the spirit of the wild. So there's one time I remember, if I decided, Fred Bear inspired me on our last hunt together at Grouse Haven up there in Michigan near Rose City, when he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "You just keep promoting hunting and archery and conservation and being clean and sober. He said, you just keep doing it like you're doing it. So that next spring, Fred died, and I so loved the man. You can hear it in the great song, and it's connected with so many great people who, there's so many Fred Bears in all of our lives, that I decided to produce a television show. And I said, Keith, I video this Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show everywhere I go. Here's a camera. Here's how to work it. Would you film this afternoon's hunt? So he said, yeah, I can figure this out. Man, I'm a smart guy. I've been to college and stuff, and I can work this camera. Here's a camera. I got my face mask on and got my hat, and I climbed up that tree. I was rather monkey-like back in those days. I still had my real knees, and I was quite athletic. But I saw old Keith going up that cedar tree, and I'm all set. I got my arrow knocked, and the wind's blowing. It's getting dark. We're approaching the bewitching hour, and he's finally waddled up that tree, and he finally got in a position. He's got the camera, and I'm going, boy, I hope he doesn't fall. And he's right there next to me. And then I see him he's trying to hold the camera, and he gets out his face mask, and he starts to put his face mask on, and I see a buck coming out of the cattails. And I'm going, Keith. And I can't get his attention. And I'm looking over there, and Keith got the camera in one hand, and he's trying to get this face mask on, and he's in the branches. And I go, Keith. And he's got that camera, and he's trying to get that face mask on, and he's hitting the limbs and all his noise, and I'm trying to get his attention. I swear to God, I thought the face mask was going to kill the guy. He couldn't find his eyeballs, and he's trying to get that face mask on, and he's gyrating like some kind of gut shot weasel. And finally, I got his attention. He goes, oh, it's a damn deer right in front of Ted. And he got the camera going. Never did have the face mask on. He had it kind of like, and he filmed it, and I shot that buck right through the heart with a beautiful white arrow. But I got to tell you, I've really been entertained by the fascinating, always intriguing wildlife, but never have I been more entertained in the great outdoors than watching my friend Keith Mark getting his ass kicked by an angry face mask. It was one of the greatest moments in my life. And Keith, I thank you for that. And I'm glad you didn't fall out of the tree or let the face mask kill you, because at one point I thought for sure the face mask was going to kill you, but it was fascinating. We got that deer.
Yep. Well, I can't admit or deny the contents of that story, but I'm glad I can entertain you, Ted. I hope you guys all enjoyed this week and this weekend edition of the Nightly Nugent. If you come back next week, we're going to have some more hard-hitting episodes of the Nightly Nuge. Love you, man.
Back at you, Keith. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend. Keep truth, logic, and common sense on the tip of your culture war spear.